What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are staying safe and you've been doing well since the last time I posted. And I gotta be honest with you guys. I think I've said this before on this channel. This case involves children as the victims, and I don't know about anyone else, but for me, whenever a case involves children as the victims, it reaches another level of deviousness and heinousness, because you're hurting innocent children that can't defend themselves, they can't fight back, they can't do any of that. So I think that raises the level of something that's already incredibly horrific to just another level, because they're children, you know what I mean? And I actually learned about this case through social media because I saw a picture of the two guys and then the two adopted children. Well, obviously the children's faces were covered, circulating social media, and I had already run into a few cases that when I looked deeper to see if the case details, that ended up being fake, because social media likes to create fake crime stories and stuff like that. So I was hoping that this case was one of those where it was like, okay, it was just for some reason someone created a heinous story for clickbait for their X page or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, when I started to dig into this case, it's real. And I don't know about anyone else that does crime content or anything like that. Whenever someone hurts children like this, I feel an obligation to put them on blast, for lack of a better term, so that everyone knows that this person or this group or whoever it is out there hurting children. Because if you hurt children, the world deserves to know how heinous of a person or how heinous of people you are, at least in my opinion. No one's paying me for that opinion. That's just my opinion. So without any further ado, let's get into this story, shall we? So this story revolves around William and Zachary Zulock. And this case will also ending in the arrest of two other people, but we'll get to that. But William and Zachary are the two main people we're going to talk about today. So William and Zachary lived in what was described as a pretty affluent Atlanta suburb. One of them worked a government job. The other one worked in banking. So they had some good money. They probably had decent sized bank accounts. And in 2018, they decided to adopt. Now, from the outside looking in, that's a great thing. You're adopting children. You're giving children a home that might not have any. Of course, there's a lot of problems with the adoption system that needs to be changed, but the idea of adoption, that you're giving children a home that wouldn't otherwise have one, is a great thing. That I think if people want children, that's a great option to go about being able to raise children if for some reason you can't have children of your own. So in 2018, they adopted two brothers, and from the outside looking in, it would have probably looked like just a normal modern family. You got the gay couple, you got their two kids, they're just going about life, doing their things. Maybe you're one of their neighbors, maybe you're someone that sees one of them at work. You probably don't expect much, because you're not looking into them. You go, oh, that's just those two. They're doing their thing with their kids. They're living their lives. It's whatever, you know what I mean? But in 2022 is when this all starts to come crashing down on them, because GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, excuse me, receives a tip from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, from basically saying, hey, someone is uploading, let's just call it CSM material, to a Google account in Walton County in Georgia. So they start to investigate that, and that leads them to a guy named Hunter Lawless. Now, Hunter Lawless would pretty readily admit that he got this CSM material from Zachary Zulock, and that obviously starts the investigation into Zach and then his partner there, because they're out there, they're living together. So that starts a 2-year investigation, which culminates in 7 terabytes of video footage, culminates in DVR footage, cell phone footage, text messages, social media messages where they were bragging about this. They also got interior security cam footage from William and Zachary's house, in which showed them abusing these kids in different rooms in their house, like living room, whatever, kitchen, wherever else they were doing this in their home. And they also ended in the arrest of another guy, whose name is, let me check my notes here, whose name is Luis Sanchez, who also got arrested for pandering of a person under 18, among some other charges like stealing from his job. So he got a bunch of years as well. Now, it looks like these two pretty quickly confessed to their crimes, because they had all this video footage. And one thing I didn't know until quite a few years ago when I started looking into cases is whenever you have a case that involves like CSM material or abuse material like this, someone has to go through and look at all those images or watch all those videos or whatever the content is to ensure that that content meets the level of meets that standard of qualifying it as abuse material. Because if it doesn't hit the abuse material standard, it can't be qualified as abuse material. You know what I mean? So these two ended up confessing, and these two get 100 years in prison with no parole. And I just want to read out all of their charges here. So I'm going to do that. I wrote these charges down because they got quite a few charges. So William Zulock got 6 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated CM, 2 counts of incest, 2 counts of exploitation of a child. And then Zachary got 2 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated CM, 2 counts of incest, 2 counts of sodomy, 3 counts of sexual exploitation of children, then 2 counts of pandering of a person under 18. Now, I had never heard that term, pandering of a person under 18, so I had to look it up, and it's a pimping charge. They were pimping these kids out so other people can abuse them. They weren't just doing it themselves. They were creating the abuse content and then pimping these kids out so that other people in their little ring that they had could also abuse these kids. And now I'm going to read a quote from the DA about this case. I'm going to read a few quotes from the DA about this case. The DA, whose name is Randy McGinley, said they truly created a house of horrors and put their extremely dark desires above everything and anyone else. And then he would go on to call the 2 boys' resolve in this case truly inspiring, as far as being able to step forward and be able to come out of this as strong, good kids who are just trying to go about living their lives. Now, another quote that he said that I want to echo as well is, "It cannot be stressed enough how important it is for our society to have individuals willing to adopt children in need. But anyone who does so and then abuses those kids deserves extremely harsh consequences and decades in prison. The sentence imposed not only appropriately punishes these defendants for their repeated selfish actions, but also sends the message to the public that such actions will never be taken lightly," which I think is great. And it looks like this case, everyone took it seriously from the beginning. It wasn't one of those things where, unfortunately, sometimes you get cases where people don't take actions lightly. Maybe the person's considered an upstanding member of the community, whatever the situation is, where a case or a situation wasn't taken lightly. But it looks like from the beginning, once they received that initial tip, they took this case really seriously, and they had the right people in the right positions of authority, from the DA to the officers investigating it and all that sort of stuff, where they took this case seriously, and they took these 2 people down who were abusing these kids. Now, I also don't think that these were their first victims, because you don't just go about doing all of this stuff and that's your first time doing this. I think they had other victims. The police just either don't know about it, or they have those other victims that just don't want to testify, which is totally understandable. Now, this is an awful case. I have to write this stuff down because I think it's important to get these right. So I don't mind telling you that I'm reading stuff, because I don't want you to think that I'm some savant or anything. That I'm just someone that researched these cases, that wanted to get the information right, that wants to present these cases to you the right way. And sometimes that requires writing stuff down and reading it. Now, Eventually, I might format the video a little differently, but that's why I look down, because I want to ensure that I get the right information to you guys, and I'm not just going off my memory and I'm giving you guys incorrect information. It's just about making sure that you guys get the correct information, so you know what happened, you know what's going on, and you know all of that. So that's the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this case. If you have any other ideas for other videos in the comments, leave those as well. Like the video, comment, share it, all that stuff. If you heard some noise in the background, that was just the dogs barking, and I got some other people in the house here. So if you heard some background noise, that's what it was. And until next time, guys, have fun and stay safe.